Alright, I think we are live. Alright, yes, we are live. Hello and welcome, everybody! Welcome back to Lightning Speed Racing. We are here for round number 4 of the Le Mans Ultimate Series. And this time we are here for the 90 minutes of Monza. Last time out, we had our biggest points paying race of the entirety of the season. We had the 2.4 hours of Le Mans. And this time we are back in the home of the Tifosi. Chat's actually playing tricks on me. I can't believe I fell for that. But anyways, we are back here in Monza, chat. It is time. We're going to have some fun here. We're here at one of the oldest racing circuits known to man. This track opened up on the 3rd of September of 1922, about 102 years ago, which is pretty crazy. This track has had some few variation changes over the years, and this current layout we are at the moment, which is the layout that's been used for quite some time now, was recently repaved, so it was absent from the 2024 and I believe 2025 counters of the WEC. And yeah, so we are here in Ferrari's backyard, but unfortunately I don't think we have any Ferraris on grid today, which is really, really unfortunate to say the least. So just to kind of give you guys a quick rundown of the championship standings as it sits here at the moment. Our top 3 drivers are Mikhail Frokov, Roman Machete, and Nathan Perron with 82, 75, and 50 points respectively. So we're going to go ahead and just continue on with practice. So like it always is, it is about a 15-minute practice session, 15-minute qualifying session once we wrap up here with practice. And then we go to the 90-minute race. With a pretty good point. It's right around 1.5 times points. Not exactly, but it's around there. Slightly less. But still, it is more points than you'll get for the rest of the season, because our next 2 races, being in Fuji and Sebring, are 1-hour races, so it will go back to regular points, regular F1 style points, where 25 for P1 and all the way the points go all the way down to P10. Today we have points going down to the top 11 drivers. So as long as they finish, and within the top 11, then they get points here today. And as always, if there's a very specific car you guys want to go ahead and be on board with, you can go ahead and drop that in the comment section down below, and we will get on board with them. So, the Italian crowd still does have a home favorite to root for. They have Lamborghini currently on track. I don't believe Lamborghini has... I think Lamborghini, I think, overall has only 4 points as of now. Hopefully they can score more here today in what is essentially their home track. Because we don't have Imola on the calendar, maybe for next season. But for right now, we do not have Imola on the calendar. But like I said, maybe next year or next season. I don't think it's going to be a year in between seasons. I certainly hope not, because we've had some really excellent racing here on track. Unfortunately, it is only me today. Philip is unavailable, but he will be back for the next round in Sebring. So it'll be really good to get his technical analysis back. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and vibe out to practice. So on board with Daniel Krebs. Now Krebs has had a tumultuous season, to kind of say the least. He had a potential P2 finish, Spa, for our first 90-minute race, then had some contact and then ended up retiring from said race. And he also retired from the last race at Le Mans, which is technically Peugeot's home track, as well as Alpine. So unfortunately, Peugeot hasn't had the greatest of times here. But I do believe Peugeot does have another driver this time. Antonio Mendoza is the driver in the 93 Peugeot. We've had some driver switches, and this was one of them. We do have some new faces currently on the grid for today's race, at least right now in this current lobby. We have 16 drivers overall. Unfortunately, the UI shows only the top 10. Hopefully, this overlay will get an update and we'll be able to see more drivers, especially when we get to if we get to multi-class racing, which is something we are looking into for the next season. But I'm going to read off some of these new names that are currently on the grid. We have Rainier Daza. Oh, there is a Ferrari, actually. The number 83 AF Corsa Ferrari is here, so we do have home representation. The Park Toyota there, I believe that was Antoine Poncet, who had a pretty decent showing last time out and is only it is so far only showing until today. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that Toyota does. But we also have Antonio Mendoza, as we mentioned before, and then Jerome Lenorand, which I think I might have mispronounced that, but yeah, so far we have 3 new drivers on the grid here today. Always awesome to see what they can do. Actually, the car behind one of our newcomers, Lucas Nielsen, put up a pretty good showing in his first round performance when he showed up at Spot and ended up bringing home points for the Glickenhaus group. But Nico Perez was asking in chat if I want to hear some news, and you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. And also, welcome to the chat. Hope you have a good race here today. And I hope we have some extra racing here at Monza. We know Monza is known for turn 1 shenanigans. That first chicane can be really tricky. The cars could be more tightly packed than a can of sardines. And ultimately, it could really screw someone up in the offset. So, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we don't have those turn 1 problems. But it's almost inevitable. I think there's very few races that have ever happened at Monza, especially in this current configuration with the turn 1 chicane, that have not seen a lap 1, turn 1 incident. Especially when it comes to endurance racing, when endurance racing can have around 40-something cars. I know today we currently have 17. We did get Brandon Dills in. Another one who's actually made a driver switch. He was a driver who previously raced for the Assetto Fraschini, but he has swapped over to one of the Ferraris. And I believe he will remain with Ferrari for the rest of the season. And according to chat, if you guys like wet weather races, next week you might be in luck. Because we have a potential for wet weather in Sebring, which is the most Floridian thing I have ever heard of. As a Floridian, I can confirm that is pretty likely to happen. Yeah, Florida is pretty well known for its bipolar weather. I could step outside and it'll be sunshine, perfect sky, the most beautiful day ever. I come back in, I grab a drink and step back outside, and it's hurricane weather. So that doesn't surprise me in the slightest here when it comes to Florida getting random rain. All right, so we're going to go on board with, let's see, who can we go on board with? That Ferrari is parked in a pretty precarious spot. That's going to be the cause of the yellow flag. We'll go on board with an American machine, because we were just talking about the American track. Currently topping our timing tables at the moment with a 1:36.001 with Nathan Perron, currently P3 in the championship as it sits right now. Although granted, these practice times, they don't essentially mean anything in the grand scheme of the race. It's about getting used to the track, getting, warmed up, getting a good feeling, making adjustments to your setup if you need to, both your sim rig setup and also your vehicle. So practice is basically exactly what it sounds like. It is just simply put practice. Gotta get used to how the car feels on track, and you gotta kind of get warmed up. Gotta get ready. I know these practice servers. There's usually probably a few practice servers per week, I would imagine. Like at least once or twice a week, these practice servers will be open, and then the drivers could go ahead and get ready. But how do you guys feel about this new update that came out for Le Mans Ultimate? Added a lot of new track layouts, and obviously the Mustang is, I believe, the Mustang GT3 is a free vehicle now too. So if you thought a Mustang and saw this DLC and thought, man, I really shouldn't spend money on it, you don't have to. It's free. You can get the car that won in its class in the 24 hours of Daytona, and you want to reenact some of the Mustang memes. Well, now you can. Seeing a little bit of passing between the two French machines. Daniel Krebs going on the inside around the Alpine of Andre Ferreira. Although this is just practice, so no overtakes here are going to really amount to anything, but it's good to kind of have that practice just because. I mean, it is practice, so you can practice your overtakes, you can practice your racing lines, you can pretty much do whatever you want to practice within reason. Obviously, don't try to send someone to the Shadow Realm by running into their car repeatedly. Anyways, we're going to go ahead. We have about a little under 4 minutes left of practice. Then it's going to be a little bit of a waiting period. And then we're going to go ahead and then get straight to qualifying. And then once qualifying is done, it takes about a minute or so for the drivers to load into the race. And we'll be here for 90 minutes of Monza. Seeing a few more yellow flags. I'm assuming this car is kind of parked up on some parts of the track like we saw with the Ferrari earlier. But also, interesting thing to note is that there's actually a spinning Porsche. That was actually the cause of a yellow flag there. Don't know if there was contact there. Didn't look like it. But anywho, yeah, I couldn't tell if there was actually contact there or not. But anywho, yeah, Monza is a very high speed track. So it's the highest speed track out of every single track we're going to race at, with the exception of Le Mans. But every other track, this is the second fastest track in the entirety of the game. In terms of just typical top speed, you have two really strong straights here. Right out of the Ascari chicane, and then you have another one going, or just shortly after the exit of the Parabolica, which is on the last turn. And I think, actually, I'll have to confirm that, but I think this track actually has the least amount of corners in the entirety of any track we're visiting here for the season. So I got 11 corners. The most notable ones are the two Lesmos, obviously the turn 1 chicane, known as the first Variante. Then you have Curva Grande, which is shortly after that. Curva Parabolica, and then obviously the Ascari chicane. But the ones that most people, the part of the track that people are most aware of when it comes to Monza is obviously the turn 1 chicane and how much chaos that can cause. I see in chat, I was going to go on board with him, but he is currently in the pits. But A+ commentary as usual. Thank you so much. Love from Kennedy. Shout out to Kennedy, and shout out to all these very talented drivers. They would honestly do a heck of a lot better than I would if I was on track at the moment. I probably would bring out the first red flag of the session, or of the entire season. But yeah, I mean, there's a testament to how clean these drivers are. I mean, so far, we are here at round 4 out of 6. We're over halfway through the season, and we have not had a safety car or a full course yellow in 3 races of actually technically 4 if you count Portimao. So yeah, 4 races, we have not had a safety car or a full course yellow, which is really, really impressive. There's races that can't go 15 minutes without having a safety car or a massive incident causing a full course yellow. But yet, so far, if my math is correct, so far we are averaging around 6 hours total if you come to combine times from all the races, and you could probably throw in Portimao in there as well. We have went around that ballpark. Actually, let me pull out a calculator because I'm gonna make sure I got my math right because I want to do my best to bring you guys the most accurate information. Yeah, actually, I was right on the dot. 6. If you count Portimao, it is 6 hours of straight racing that we have not had a full course yellow or a safety car, which is really impressive. These drivers are extremely talented. They have excellent racecraft, and they have some wicked pace. But right now, we're about to actually have a lot of focus on said pace because it is now time for qualifying. 15 minutes of qualifying here at Monza. Monza does have a pretty short outlap, so drivers can really wait till the last few minutes to go ahead and get started with their outlap. Unlike Spa or Le Mans, where it can take quite a second to get your outlap done. Here, it's a pretty short outlap. It takes probably roughly around a minute and a half. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how aggressive you're trying to be and also how much you want to kind of preserve your tires and wait. Tire blankets are now a thing in Le Mans Ultimate, and I believe they are allowed here at LSR. So the one thing that we were kind of talking about last time with it, how long it takes for some of these tires to get up to temperatures, that might not be the case anymore. That might actually have been fixed with the addition of these tire warmers and also just other general bug fixes that Studio 397 has done with this game. So it'll be very interesting to kind of see if that affects the order at all. But I do think it is going to lead to slightly closer racing as we go ahead and get going here. If you have any driver you specifically want to go on board with, if you have any specific vehicles you'd like to go on board with, just go ahead and drop it in chat and we will go on board with them. And actually, I'm hearing in chat that we have an additional driver. So we are currently at 19 drivers currently on track. I think the latest additions were Byron Thompson and Johnny Luna. I believe those were the two most recent additions. Not to the series. We saw them race before. Johnny Luna actually getting a very unfortunate DNF or DSQ essentially in Spa due to running out of fuel. Very unfortunate. But we're here with qualifying. I believe we'll see. I think Santos was the quickest one on the lap. We'll go ahead and get on board with him. He is still currently on an outlap. I'm not sure if anyone is on a flyer at the moment. Nathan actually is going to go ahead and start his outlap, or start his actual flyer. So we'll be on board with the Cadillac. See what he does here. I think he's still trying to warm up the tires a little bit. It's a purple sector 1 for the Cadillac right now. He does have a little bit of traffic ahead. Hopefully they won't impede him. He is definitely on a flyer as it sits right now. It's a 32.586 at the moment for sector number 1. He will get the fastest time to start off with, but some drivers have actually usurped his time. Antoine Ponset with a 32.014, faster in sector 1. We'll see about sector 2. I think he's still trying to warm up tires, so this might not be a full push lap from the Cadillac. He does have a Lamborghini up in front of him. It is a purple sector too, though. Although granted, he is the only one. Oh, there is a little bit of traffic there. Maybe trying to get a little bit of a tow there off the Lamborghini. The tows are very strong on this track. If you want the best form of qualifying, then you really got to get a tow. Getting a tow is so strong here. For those of you who might be new and don't know what it means when I say drivers are getting a tow, well, first of all, welcome. We hope you enjoy your time here at LSR. We do these races every single week, as well as races for F1. So definitely drop a like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of those awesome races that we're going to be doing. But what it means from getting a tow is essentially you're getting a slipstream. You have one car in front of you, and the airflow is adding more downforce to your car behind, and then you can slipstream behind them, get a little bit of a higher top speed, and then ultimately, with higher speed, obviously comes quicker laps. So Antoine Ponset at the moment has the fastest time of qualifying. Good stuff there from the Frenchman. We'll go ahead and turn back on the tower stuff so we can see where everybody is currently at. So it's a 136.704 right now for Ponset. Santos right behind with only 2.5 tenths under. But we're seeing one of the new drivers of Jerome Leninrad going ahead and sitting in P3 at the moment. Brandon Dills making up a lot of ground in that Ferrari. He is currently in P8. Andre Ferreira was in P9. He got dropped down to P10. As current championship leader, Mikhail Frokov, who is in better health today than he was last week at Le Mans, was currently on top of the time. But we are starting to see that tow now, as Ponset actually improves his time and moves up a position. He goes back to provisional pole. Oh, there's a yellow flag there. Ooh, that's a little dicey there. Little bit of unintentional impeding, I would assume. It's kind of hard when you have that many cars trying to go through turn one. It's just nightmare fuel. Absolute nightmare fuel. We're trying to get through that corner. We're actually going to try to go on board with a Ferrari. We're going to go on board with the number 83 AM Corsa Ferrari of Rainer Deza. Currently sitting in P9 at the moment. Ferrari has had a up and down season here in LSR for the first season. They had a win with Rover Machete at Bahrain in the season opener, but then he switched to BMW, and they've had on and off attendance. So we haven't seen a lot of Ferraris, and the Ferraris last time at Le Mans was not having the greatest of races, but it is unfortunate. Hopefully we'll see their home race do better for them. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of drivers, if they had to win only one singular race, they would want to go ahead and obviously win at their home track, which Ferrari, this is basically Ferrari's capital, the unofficial capital of Italy whenever Ferrari races here. So we're seeing some decent results here from Ferrari. Christian Tenerello in the number 99. Or sorry, it is another 99. But we have two 99s here. We have a Proton competition. Actually, we have two different Proton competition number 99s. Slightly different liveries. One is a more red, white, and blue. I think it's a WeatherTech sponsored Porsche. Yep, it is the WeatherTech sponsored Porsche. And if Christian Tenerello sounds kind of familiar to you, if you've watched the series quite a bit, he was a driver that for 2 rounds, he raced in the Van Wall. He was the driver in the number 4 gold Van Wall. He has made a switch from Van Wall to Porsche, which in terms of the driver standings does make a good amount of sense, especially because of the Van Wall only has 6 gears compared to everybody else having 7 or 8. So, especially on a very top speed favorite track, that Van Wall just really struggled at a lot of tracks. So, I mean, in terms of point-paying positions, the Porsche is definitely a step in the right direction. Although it is unfortunate that we have lost two of the boutique manufacturers. The only one currently on track, as far as I know, is we have both of the Glickenhauses. I think other than that, I don't think we have any of the other boutique manufacturers currently representative. We'll go on board with one of the Porsches of Johnny Luna, one of the Hertz Joda Porsches. Nathan Perron is actually now on the top of our timing table at the moment. Good stuff from the Cadillac. This would be the first pole position for Cadillac, I believe. Nathan Perron did get a podium in, I believe, Spa. And also, he is currently sitting in P3 in the Drivers' Championship. He is about 25 points exactly behind Rovan Machete, who is not here today. So this is really a really good chance for this Cadillac to go ahead and jump into at least P2 in the standings if he gets a very strong result here today. Taking a look at how the points are going to be given for this race, go ahead and just talk about that real quick. So for the 90-minute races, P1 gets 37 points, followed by P2 getting 30, and then 23 for third, 18 for fourth, 15 for fifth, 12 for sixth, 9 for seventh, 6 points for eighth, 4 points for ninth, 2 points for 10th, and then a single point for P11. This is the last race with this scoring style. And then after that, we return to the regular Formula 1 style scoring with P1 getting 25 points all the way down to P10 getting 1 point. Because we are down to only the two 60-minute races after today. And we are currently down to the last 5 minutes of qualifying. So just going to go ahead and give you a look at our top 10. We have Nathan Perron currently in the Cadillac, the number 3 Chip Ganassi Cadillac. Mark Santos, P2, PGR Toyota. Mikhail Frokov in the number 200 BMW. Antoine Ponce in the 2023 number 7, or as we call it, the Haas Toyota. Daniel Krebs currently sitting in P5 in the Peugeot. Newcomer Jerome Leninrad in the Hertz Joda Porsche. Oh, looks like a little bit of contact there between Daniel Krebs and Jerome Leninrad. Oh, no. That is very unfortunate. So he's definitely going to have to return to the pits. Yeah, Krebs definitely going to have to return to the pits after that one. And then currently sitting in P7, we have Lucas Nielsen and the Glickenhaus, Alex Afonso and the Lamborghini, Nemanja Rajkovic currently in one of the Porsches, and then Christian Tenerelio, the number 99 WeatherTech Proton Porsche. So things are pretty tight here within the top 10. Only a second separates all these drivers within the top 10. Nathan Perron setting the fastest time I think he just improved ever so slightly on his time. The gap was 2.5 tenths flat between him and Mark Santos, but now it's 0.274. So a little under 3 tenths of a second, as the Porsches are kind of getting a little bit of a toe off of each other, but going through the Ascari chicanes is kind of a tricky place to get a toe from. It's going to be really, really tricky for these drivers to kind of manage traffic. He's going through Parabolica now. We'll see where this puts the Proton Porsche of Christian Tenerelio. We'll see where the WeatherTech car goes ahead. Can he improve? I do not believe that was an improvement, unfortunately. And he was dropped out of the top 10 by Johnny Luna, one of the other Porsches. The Porsches are all pretty competitive with each other. And actually, we have a pretty shock contender currently sitting in P3 right now. We have Alex Afonso in the Lamborghini doing the best out of the Italian machines. We do have 3 Italian cars in the championship. Unfortunately, we are missing the Assolta Fraschini. but we do have the AF Corsa Ferrari and then the factory Ferrari. We have those, and then we have the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini right now of Alex Alfonso currently topping the charts when it comes to the Italian manufacturers, at least. So far, so good from everyone. I mean, a little bit of contact there from, or onto Daniel Krebs at the get-go of this. I believe it was Jerome Leninrad. And if I mispronounce any of these names, I really do apologize. I will do my best to pronounce it correctly, but I might mispronounce it on accident. We'll go on board now with the Lamborghini as he goes through his next lap. Alex Alfonso, currently, he's going through the first chicane. The first and honestly the trickiest chicane in the entirety of the track, where you'll see a lot of that turn one drama. Doing so far so good. He's about to approach the second Variante, and then he's about to go through the Lesmos. Chicane just before the Lesmos. Oh, he gets a little snappy there. It's so easy to lose the rear end of your car there. He's going to go ahead and just send it through the first Lesmo. He's got another Lesmo coming right on up. See how he nails this. So far, so good from the Lamborghini. Goes into fourth, now into fifth. Currently running at nearly 170 kilometers an hour. Definitely going to go ahead and get even closer to that 200 kilometers an hour. Going through the Ascari chicane. Oh, there's a yellow flag flying in front of him. Unfortunate for him. The Iron Lynx Lamborghini. Actually, that is qualifying done and dusted. Right now, he is currently in P5. We'll stay on board with him for the rest of his lap. He's going through Parabolica. He could get a toe off of this Peugeot in front of him. Let's see where he goes. I don't know if it's an improvement or not. It is an improvement. He's back up into the top three. And that's an excellent start there. We'll see if anyone else is on a flyer at the moment. You'll see a good amount of camera switching, so I do apologize. Yeah, so far, I don't think anyone else is on a flyer. Oh, Jonah. Formula Jonah, he's on a flyer. We'll go ahead and stay on board with the Porsche, the Penske Porsche of Formula Jonah. So the version with the purple headlights. Let's see if he can improve. Not quite. Not quite an improvement there from the Porsche driver. And I think that is officially everybody done and dusted. So that is qualifying, folks. Just to go ahead and give you a rundown of the finishing positions of everyone. Nathan Perron takes pole position here in Monza, followed by Antoine Poncet, Alex Alfonso, Mark Santos, Daniel Krebs, Mikhail Frokov, championship leader, currently down in P6, followed by Jerome Leninrad, one of the new drivers racing today. We have Lucas Nielsen, Johnny Luna, Nemanja Rajkovic, Christian Tenerillo, Michelle Bonalumi, Rainer Draza, Bradley Kennedy, Brandon Dills, Nico Perez, Byron Thompson, Antonio Mendoza, Andre Ferreira, and then also Formula Jonah. Those are the drivers. That is the qualifying position of everyone at the moment. We'll go ahead and see where everybody goes ahead and sits once we go ahead and get started with today's race. So, any predictions on who is going to win here today? It's going to be very, very interesting to go ahead and see who can take victory here at Monza. It's been a pretty fun season so far. We've had BMW and Ferrari basically being the winning constructors at the moment. Will we see a third one added to the list? Or are we just going to continue to see the BMW domination that we have been witnessing for the last few weeks? We know the BMW is a very strong car. And we are 10 seconds away from going to green. It's going to be lights out here in Monza very, very shortly. And the cars are given the go-ahead. Nathan Perron will go ahead and lead us to green. It'll be go when the Cadillac goes. Just waiting. He leads the field. Got to go through Parabolica. They aren't able to push until he pushes. So, I mean, it's really, there's already a good amount of strategy here for this first part of the race. And we'll see where they go. Nathan Perron going to lead us to green. Getting a little bit of extra heat into those tires. He's going to have to defend. He'll have to defend there from Antoine Poncet. And it's the lights out and away we go. The green flag is out. And it is action coming here to turn number 1. And we're going to go ahead and see if there's going to be any turn 1 shenanigans. Oh, the Lamborghini. There's a Lamborghini going around. And there's already a lot of contact. Nathan Perron is losing quite a few positions. That Lamborghini went super far wide. I think that was, yeah, that was Alex Afonso running into or having contact with one of the other cars there. Very unfortunate stuff. It was an excellent qualifying position. And Mikhail Prokov goes ahead and leads the first lap. Now we're about to go to the chicane leading up to the Lesbos. We're seeing a few drivers jockeying for a position here at the moment. A little bit of a battle here between Lucas Nielsen possibly trying to take on Antoine Poncet, another driver who really... Oh! He's gone super wide! Lucas Nielsen goes super wide there on the exit of the second Lesbos. And he's going to definitely drop down a few positions. And as there's already a lot of fighting going on, Nathan Perron is the next driver to kind of go sparring with a few of the other cars on the grid. And it is so far madness here on lap 1. Absolute insanity going on in the starting stages of this race. So once again, Mikhail Prokov does lead the race. We know Mikhail Prokov does have some pace. We're going to go on board with the Peugeot now, as the Peugeot looks like it might want to go for an overtake here onto Antoine Poncet. He's got the slipstream. He's going for it. Not enough real estate. He's not going to be over aggressive. He knows what happens if you get over aggressive on this track. As we see Daniel Krebs continuing to try to chase down that Toyota in front. He wants a podium. He almost had a podium previously, but unfortunately just could not get the podium done. Was P2 in Spa, then had some contact, and oh, there's a Glickenhaus in the back, taking a little bit of a shortcut. I believe that was Nielsen. It was Nielsen. Nielsen did take a little bit of a shortcut. He did lose the position again to Nathan Perron. So the stewards are going to have some fun with this one. So we're going to continue staying on board with this battle here for... Actually, we're going to go ahead and move back up to Daniel Krebs. Looking ready to try to take the fight to Antoine Poncet. He's going around the outside. He's going to try to take it before he gets to Parabolica. He's got the move. We'll see if he can make it stick. He's on the outside. He's got more speed. And he'll get the overtake done. But it's all going to depend on if he can get a good exit out of Parabolica. And he does. Now he's under pressure. Now Antoine is under pressure from Jerome. We'll go on board now with the Porsche as he looks to try to overtake Toyota here going into the first chicane. Gonna be a bit later on the brakes, but so is Antoine. Antoine's actually later on the brakes. He's gonna keep the position. And so far, good defense there from Antoine Poncet. Very, very interesting stuff here. The opening stages here of Monza. We're going to go ahead and pivot back to our race leader just for a bit. Actually, we're going to go down. Looks like there might be a battle here for P9. Oh, as Christian Tenorelio gets a little squirrely on the exit of the chicane there. Coming up to the Lesbos. But if he makes too many mistakes like that, then Michele Bonalumi And the Lamborghini behind is going to have, probably going to try to take a look up the inside if Christian makes a few more mistakes. But so far, it has not been a great session for some of these cars. Ferraris are currently down in P14 to P16. There's a spin. It's a spin. It's a massive contact there. Massive contact there from Christian Tenerello and Michelle Bonalumi. That is unfortunate there. Bonalumi is up in the P10 as it sits right now, but what damage do they have on their Lamborghini? What damage has that SC63 sustained? Because there was definitely contact there. We are using light damage, so fortunately for these drivers, that's major deficits. So I mean, you're not gonna have massive suspension failure if you get into a pretty big accident, which that would have definitely put both cars out of commission. So we're gonna just go ahead and give you a quick rundown of our points finishes at the moment, as Alex Afonso is looking to make a move onto Nico Perez. This is the battle for the last point. This is the battle for P11 as it sits right now. Nico Perez, who is currently in P11, he's got a lot of pressure from the Lamborghini. Good defense, though, from Perez. Perez not giving anything up without a fight. We'll go on board and look at the rear wing camera from this looking out as he continues to fend off the Lamborghini on one of its home tracks. Its actual only home track of the season. Oh, it's pretty much going to be a battle. The Lamborghini is going to go for a move. We'll see if a move is made. We've seen overtakes happen around the outside of Parabolica before, and we see it again. It looks like Nico Perez locked up the brakes a little bit. And Lamborghini is on schedule for a double points finish here. As it sits right now, with the point scoring, it would be a solid 3 points for the team, which is pretty good. Some constructors don't have any points yet. Unfortunately, I think that was only limited to the Van Walls. But so far, it's been a pretty solid race here at Monza, as Monza typically tends to deliver. But now we're starting to see these gaps kind of forming a bit. We'll switch from one Italian car to the other. We're going to go ahead and go on board now with the Ferrari of Brandon Dills. Currently chasing down Nico Perez for P12. About a second gap formed between the two, but now we're seeing the two Lamborghinis get pretty close to each other. I'm not sure if there's going to be any kind of team orders to try to let Alex Afonso through, or if the two are allowed to race. Hopefully we do get some racing between the two, because it'd be really interesting to see the Lamborghini v Lamborghini battle here. There's currently, it looks like there might be a battle going on for P5 here in the near future. We'll keep an eye on this fight. Oh, but Alex Afonso does go a bit wide out of the exit of the Ascari chicane. That's going to hurt him a bit. But we'll see if there's going to be a move made. Probably not going to try to fight his teammate too much. Well, the two cars actually get really close there momentarily. Alex Afonso is going to try to go up the inside of his teammate in the other Lamborghini, and it's formation running at the moment. And Alex Afonso does move up a position. The positions were swapped. It's still the same amount of points for Lamborghini. But now it is 2 points for Afonso and 1 point for Michelle, which, looking at the point standings, I actually don't think Michelle has any. Yeah, Michelle doesn't have any points at the moment. So it would be a good result there for the Lamborghini to get to finally put points on the board. We'll go ahead and keep an eye out for any other battles. It looks like the next one we might be seeing is Jerome v. Antoine. Hertz Joda versus Haas. Looks very likely at the moment. Currently, oh, actually, we're going to pivot down. It's Byron Thompson in the Alpine We've seen some pretty strong performances here from Alpine. Points finishes in both of their appearances. They were absent for Bahrain, but they showed up for Spa and Le Mans. Got points finishes in both events. As we go on board now with the number 35 Alpine as he tries to chase down Christian Tenerelio. This is a battle for P15, or sorry, P14. The driver on your screen right now, Byron Thompson, is currently sitting in P15. At the moment, Byron Thompson still trying to close that gap up to the car up ahead of Christian Tenerelio. It looks like Christian is losing a little bit of speed in the Parabolica. We'll go ahead and see if this is a move that can be made for the Alpine, running that Mechrochrome V6. There's not enough real estate there, unfortunately, for the Alpine. Not going to be able to quite get it done. As we continue to stay on board now with the Alpine. See if they can make any kind of moves. But we're actually going to move up the field ever so slightly because we have a potential fight here between Alex Alfonso and Johnny Luna. Might have a fight with that one. As the Lamborghini, who started P3, is getting really, really close to Johnny Luna and see maybe a move before the Ascari chicane. Not quite going to happen. Still a little bit of possibility, but the Ascari chicane is not really a place you want to overtake. Both cars going a little bit over track limits. There's definitely going to be a pass being made here going into Parabolica. Oh, he was shaking for a move. Just trying to fake out his opponent. He's going to try to send it around. Oh, he's going to try to get the switchback. Going up the inside. Johnny Luna loses another position to Alex Alfonso. And this is a recovery drive attempt for the Lamborghini. And Nathan Perron is definitely going to want a recovery drive for himself, as he started on pole position, but unfortunately got sent off into the chicane. Dropped several positions. The two cars going side by side, a little bit of contact there between the Porsche and the Lamborghini. But the Lamborghini does lose that spot to Johnny Luna, and the two cars are still going to remain relatively close. Now we're actually going to... Oh, wait, maybe a move? Maybe. Oh, Alex Alfonso's trying. He is searching for an opening. He's looking for that slight weakness. And oh, he gets a bit wide. His teammate goes ahead and moves up a position. They're going to go and swap the positions back. And now he's got to try to chase down that Porsche in front of him. Another potential close fight we might be seeing is the number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing Machine of Mark Santos, trying to chase down the current race leader of Mikel Frokov, sorry. I mean, this is the fight for the lead of the race. Going on board now with the Toyota. See if he can go ahead and try to get a move made onto Mikel Frokov. We're going to, for the remainder of this lap, we're going to just stick on board with this fight. And we'll be back shortly. The sounds of these machines are just outright heavenly. As we kind of resume this battle between Mark Santos and Mikel Frokov. There is a yellow flag. I'm not sure what that yellow flag is for. Pretty interesting to say the least, but I think it might have just been a driver going wide. So far we haven't had a need for a safety car or full course caution yet, so that is very good. We are getting close to being 15 minutes done with this race. And we're going to see if possibly there's going to be a run made onto Mikhail Frokov. We're watching it from the rear wing, right next to that BMW V8, going into the first chicane. So far, so good from these drivers. No bits of contact yet. And so far, I think Mikhail is just going to start pulling away ever so slightly. As now we're actually going to go ahead and go on board with Jerome, who is looking to try to chase down Antoine Poncet in the number 7 2023 spec Toyota. Good stuff so far from these drivers, keeping it clean, keeping it close. And we might go ahead and see a potential overtake here sooner rather than later. Oh, Nico Perez has been handed a penalty. I saw it ever so briefly on my screen. Nico Perez has a penalty. I'm assuming that is for track limits. There's only so many times you can go off track here without getting slapped with a penalty. That is likely what happened to the Glickenhaus of Nico Perez, who is going to be under attack from Brandon Dills here at the moment. It's going to be a very close fight between these two. See if Brandon Dills can go ahead and get one step closer to the points. It'll be points for Ferrari, I think for the first time since their win in Bahrain. He's got the look. Oh, he's trying to think of a move to get past Perez. Perez being really good on the defense here between these two cars. Good racing, good clean racing. And we'll see if he can get a run done up the straights. Nope, and actually Perez, I think, is just going to go into the pits. He has made it into the pit stop. He'll be the first driver so far pulling a pit stop, pulling the trigger on a pit stop. Why don't you go ahead and see what tires these top 9 drivers are currently on. So we have everybody on mediums with the exception of Santos. Oh, actually, Perez was handed a drive-through penalty. That is very unfortunate. He's going to lose quite a few spots there. Unfortunate there for the driver driving the Glickenhaus. The Dutchman not having the greatest of times here. We're going to go on board now. Oh, this is looking pretty close. Antoine Poncet is still under pressure from Jerome Lenorand, sorry. We'll see if there's going to be a move made. The move is looking pretty likely. He's going to try to send it up the inside of Parabolica. But with these kind of corners, it's sometimes better just to go around the outside of the corner, because you can carry a bit more speed. And that looks like exactly what might happen. Go on board now with the Porsche. See if there's going to be a move made. See if the move is going to be made. Not quite. Oh, it looks like a little bit of a loss of grip there. He is really, really close now to this driver. Super, super close to this Toyota out in front. As we stick on board with Jerome as he potentially makes a move. They also caught up to Daniel Krebs, who is currently P3. So this actually is a 3-way fight for the podium as it sits right now. Go ahead and see some data. See if we can get that up on our screens. Unfortunately, not yet. Ah, there we go. It does look a little cluttered, so we'll go ahead and remove that for now, and then just bring back up the tower. And we'll see how much energy everybody has remaining, because we know fuel has been a topic of discussion here in this league so far. We actually saw Johnny Luna get disqualified due to a lack thereof of fuel. So, pretty unfortunate for him. As we see, Jerome, he's got the run. He might have a move. Not quite well, so stick around with this specific camera shot. See if a move is made between the Porsche and the Glucas. Not so. These cars are getting really, really close to each other. And actually, I think we might even have a battle up close for the lead as we switch to Mark Santos' POV. Actually, we'll switch on board with Mikhail Frokov, current championship and race leader at the moment. I think if Mark Santos does come into this position here, he would, I think, I'll have to check the stats, he would jump up quite a bit. Yeah, he didn't get any points at Le Mans, unfortunately, with a DNF. But he would probably, let's see, if he jumps up 30 points, he might jump himself up. That would put him at 70 points. So that would put him up to P3 in the standings, because Robin is not here. So Robin, I mean, I think Robin's championship spot is pretty secure, unless I think it would have to be Nathan Perron winning the race for him to lose the spot, which currently he's down to P11, so he's only going to get 1 point as opposed to the regular amount of points you would have for winning, which in this case would be 37. As this battle for P1 is still pretty close. There's another yellow flag. There's probably a car going or having a bit of an excursion into the runoff. We'll see if there's any other close fights that we can kind of spectate. But once again, the offer is always open. If you guys want to go on board with any specific vehicle, just go ahead and drop it in chat, and we will go through an entire onboard lap with that car. It can be any of the cars in the points or out of the point. Only restriction is it cannot be a car that has DNF. But so far, at this stage of the race, we're almost half an hour into this race, so we're almost a third of the way done with this race. And so far, no DNF. We're going to actually go on board now with a battle for the final points paying spot. Alex Afonso, Brandon Dills, Ferrari versus Lamborghini. This is a rivalry almost as old as time. This is definitely the kind of battle you want to have here at Monza. Ferrari under pressure from Afonso. Afonso is going to try to make the move. He's trying to make the move around the outside. Or he's actually sending it up. Yeah, no, this is the outside of the Ascari chicane. He gets the move done and dusted. And that's an excellent move made for the Lamborghini. He is up into P11. He's up into the last points paying spot so far. But Byron Thompson might be the next one to try to attack this Ferrari. So we'll have to see if Byron Thompson can go ahead and get a move done onto the Ferrari. It's going to be a run. The Mechachrome V6 is putting in the overtime. The Formula 2 engine working better than the Ferrari. Oh, but that's very late on the brakes. You can see the smoke. That's a brake lockup. He will overtake, but he's going to have to get that position back. And he does. To avoid the risk of a penalty for overtaking off track. And Byron Thompson, the overtake was done, but the brakes were even more well done. Those brakes were hooked. Oh, he's going to try to send a move onto Brandon Dills. That was a very aggressive dive. Looks like there might have been an inch between the two cars to prevent contact. Might have been very close. we'll have to go ahead and stay on board with this battle here. Actually, we're going to pivot to the fight for first. Mark Santos has been right behind Mikhail Frokov. But at this stage of the race, I think the tires are just going to be a bit more burned out on Mikhail's car because Mikhail is running those mediums while Santos is running the hard tires. So Santos is able to go longer on these tires because the trade-off with the hards and mediums is that typically with the mediums are kind of like the 50-50 tire if you compare them to the softs and the hard tires, which we don't see softs often just because softs are typically more of like a qualifying tire because they have the most grip but the worst tire life. The mediums are that 50-50 where they have equal tire life and pace, while the hards have the least amount of pace, but they have the best tire life. So it's really, really a trade-off here. It's kind of like playing rock, paper, scissors, shoes with tire strats. As we see Jerome in the Porsche actually move up into P3 at the moment, but I think Daniel Krebs has lost 2 positions here. He was in the podium, but he lost it to Jerome Leninrad and Antoine Ponset. So, unfortunate there for Krebs having to lose those 2 positions. As we pivot back to the battle between the Toyota and the BMW. This would be Toyota's first win of the entire season if they were to get it here. See if the move can be done. Coming here to the first chicane. The Prima Variante. Ooh, maybe a little bit of a brake lock up there, but so far, Mikhail Frokov holds on to that lead. Holding on for dear life at the moment. As we're going to go ahead and kind of pivot down the field a bit to look at the battle between Nemanja Rajkovic and Lucas Nielsen. Porsche versus Glickenhaus. Penske versus Glickenhaus. So this could be a fun fight. Actually, we're going to go a little bit further down the field to another really tight battle between Michele Bonalumi and Johnny Luna. Lamborghini versus Hertz Toyota Porsche. Oh, the switchback. He's going to try to send it into the inside, but so far, Johnny Luna just had a little bit of inside as we go back to the rear bumper of the Hertz Toyota Porsche. As the Lamborghini tries to continue to stay close. Bonalumi in a very good points paying position, currently sitting in P9, which would be worth 4 points, which would equal, I believe, the best finish for Lamborghini, and it would definitely be the biggest points payout overall if Alex Alfonso stays in his position. Nathan Perron actually dropped down quite a bit. I wonder if that was pit stop related. We're staying on board here with this battle between these 2 cars. The Lamborghini is going to exit Parabolica. We'll see if there's going to be a tow that's going to go ahead and get this Lamborghini into the position. Actually, I think the Porsche is actually pulling away a bit. So not quite enough real estate there. We'll actually go for a podium battle. Maybe? No, I think that was just the typical chicane stuff. But we'll switch that battle anyway. Between Mark Santos and Mikhail Frokov. 2 very talented drivers. 2 drivers who are doing pretty solid in the standings, both in the top 5. Mikhail leading the championship. Getting some very, very strong points finishes throughout the season. He got a podium last time out at Le Mans, despite being under the weather. So, very, very good results for him. And I believe he also got P3, yes, in Bahrain as well. So, currently the only driver with a 100% podium rate at the moment. And it doesn't look like that statistic is coming under threat anytime soon. As we know, Mikhail has been really, really strong in this BMW. The bond between Brokov and his BMW are borderline inseparable at this time. And it's gotten to the point now we're seeing, like, if I saw Mikel in any other car aside from that BMW, specifically the art car BMW, because that's been the BMW he's been using the most. Although I think he did switch it up for Portugal, our preseason testing, our little preseason 1 hour race. But yeah, I think seeing Mikel in any other vehicle aside from a BMW would just be criminal. But who knows? Maybe some drivers may be wanting to experience the different cars for the next season. Not sure when we're going to go ahead and get started with the next season as we come down to the final hour of the race. 30 minutes have fully elapsed. So we have officially completed a third of the race here in Monza. We'll stay on board with this battle for a little bit longer. There is a pretty close battle between Daniel Krebs and Antoine Ponset, fighting for P4 right now, and they're actually pretty close to Jerome Lenaran for P3. So once again, it's another three-way fight for the podium. These cars are getting pretty close, but I think they're really just trying to manage pace. We'll actually go ahead and see how much energy is remaining for these drivers, and when can they expect to make a pit stop. Interesting stuff here. So per lap, obviously this won't take as much as a good amount of the other tracks we've been to, most notably Spa and Le Mans, two very long tracks. Won't take as much as Bahrain, but that difference is a bit more minimal. We'll see. We'll actually stay with this energy management so we can see how much energy is used over the duration of a lap. So far, 1% has been used, going through sector 1 for both of these cars. I don't know if you guys heard that. I apologize. Taking a sip of water. But anyways, back to the on-track action. Yeah, so right now going through the first sector, they really don't use a lot of energy compared to Le Mans, because Le Mans, obviously with the track being about 7 miles in length, or around I think 14 kilometers, if my math is right. That is it's going to be interesting to see. So far, they've only burned 2% right now. 2% has been burned currently in terms of the fuel for the duration of the lap. So they could probably go quite a bit longer without making a pit stop. But they're likely not going to try to wait till last minute, because that would just take more time in the pits. And every second counts when you're racing. Obviously, that goes without saying. We're actually going to go ahead and so burn about 3% per lap, roughly, for the BMW and the Toyota. So we're going to go ahead and put the UI back. And then we're going to actually go on board with... Let's see, who can we go on board with? Now, Monza is actually looking like... No, chasing down that Glickenhaus. That fight with the Glickenhaus has been going on for quite a minute. So it'll be pretty interesting to see if this Porsche can get back past this Glickenhaus. But it's also kind of worth noting that these boutique manufacturers have always had some superb defending. I'm not sure what it is. But you can go back to Bahrain. We saw Christian Tinarello, who then was in the Van Wall, fending off both a Toyota and a Porsche, I believe, in Bahrain. So, we've seen some really strong defense from these boutique manufacturers as we switch back to the battle for P10 between Alex Afonso and Nathan Perron. And it looks like Alex Afonso is just going to have a better exit. Oh, that was within inches of each other. Go on board now with the number 3 Cadillac. And go ahead and follow this fight for quite some time, unless we See another really good fight possibly happening. But the question is that it's going to be a while before these drivers make pit stops, obviously. So it'll be very interesting to see when these pit stops happen and overall just what happens in these pit stops. Because drivers can go on a more aggressive strategy and just do another set of medium. Because there's not really a requirement for using multiple tire compounds, unlike in Formula One, where you have to use two different tire compounds, unless it gets wet and intermediates and wet tires are involved. But overall, you don't have to use two separate tire compounds. So the more aggressive drivers could go medium, medium, or somebody can really push their tires to the brink of collapse and then go medium soft or hard to soft. There's just so many different strategy options available to us here in this race. We'll go on board. We'll switch from one yellow car to another. Go ahead and ride on board here with the Ferrari. When they begin this lap, we'll go ahead and just do a, as we call it, an immersive onboard, and we'll be back. And that was a pretty clean lap there from Rainier Desert. Pretty clean lap there from the Ferrari. I know the Tifosi would definitely prefer their driver to be a bit higher up the standings, as the blue flags were given to both of those drivers as their battle still continues. So both Ferraris now have officially been lapped. Brendan Dills in the number 51 Ferrari. Looks like he's about to get. He's got a Glickenhaus behind him. He might actually be getting lapped by Lucas Nielsen. It is, yeah. Lucas Nielsen, the Norwegian driver, is behind Brandon Dills, potentially to lap him. So, yep, that's a blue flag. He's gonna have to get out of the way. And it's not been the day that. Oh, there's a Ferrari off into the grass or off into the gravel. Oh no, the day for the Tifosi just keeps getting worse and worse. They already had it kind of rough in qualifying, and so far just the race pace has just not been there for these Ferraris. Very, very unfortunate there for these drivers. We're gonna actually take a look at Daniel. Actually, we'll switch to another Italian car that's looking to potentially make a position up. Behind the two Hertz Jodel Porsches up ahead is the Lamborghini of Michele Bonalumi. Bonalumi has had an excellent race here. The best race that he's had all season. And Bonalumi is doing very good for Lamborghini right now, sitting in P9. Potentially could get up even a few more positions if one of these herd notice has a problem. But I think some of these drivers may have pitted in. We'll actually go ahead and check how many stops these drivers have had. See if we get that graphic to work. So far, nobody in the top 10 has actually had any pit stops, at least according to the graphic here. I know some drivers have had some pit stops. We'll also take a look at the energy remaining of these cars. So yeah, we're going to see some drivers going to make pit stops here pretty shortly. I would say definitely at least P5 to P9 are definitely going to go ahead and make their pit stops now, or probably within the next lap or so. You burn about 3% a lap, so Bonalumi is definitely going to have to go ahead and pull the trigger and go into the pits. And otherwise, that is just going to be detrimental to his race. And we've seen DNFs happen before, and DSQs happen due to fuel problems. So hopefully that does not befall the Lamborghini here, as they've had a very good race here today. They've definitely been the pride of Italy right now amidst the Ferrari struggles. We'll see if there's a move being made. We'll go on board now with the Lamborghini. The number 63 Lamborghini is going to be still right on board. Still right on the back of Johnny Luna, but I don't think an overtake will be made, because I do think that Michele Bonalumi is going to eventually just going to pull off into the pit. So I don't think that they'll go around for another lap. If they do, they'll have to be on mad fuel saving mode. Maybe try to get overtake done before the pits. Yep. Oh, we're seeing both Johnny Luna and Michele Bonalumi come into the pits. These two drivers making their pit stops. Now you got to be precise with your pit stops here, because the game will move your car back if you don't get it right. And that actually takes a few seconds. We kind of see it a little bit there with Michele Bonalumi there before getting fuel and some new tires. Probably just fueling up mostly now. As we kind of see, we'll go back on board with the two race winners, or two race contenders. Both contention for the race win here. Mark Santos would definitely jump up some positions in the championship. Mikel would increase his lead in the Drivers' Championship. As it sits right now, he is currently 7 points ahead of Robin. About 7 points ahead of Robin, who isn't here today. So, I mean, it's going to be a good amount of points there for the BMW driver. Potentially, well, going to definitely extend his lead. Unless there's a disconnect or a DNF, we've had that happen, but hasn't happened to Frokov. Frokov has been incredibly consistent. The only driver to have a podium in every single event, including the preseason prologue, where Mikel actually took victory. He took victory there, and he took victory in Spa. So, and been in the podium for every other race. P3 in Le Mans, even when he was under the weather, which was really, 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 really solid. Actually, yeah, P3. I was double checking. I was pulling up the scoring sheet just to make sure I was correct. But so far, it's been we've had some incidents, but so far it's been a pretty solid race today. We're going to go on. Oh. These drivers are still in the. Oh, okay. So Alex Alfonso actually went ahead and made the pit stop now. So now we're at the point where we're seeing a lot of these drivers go ahead and fire off into the pits. Oh, actually, hang on. Can we go back to that? It looked like there was some weird contact stuff happening with that Ferrari. I kind of missed it a bit. I think he was just kind of stuck by one of the Jota Porsches. And oh, this is gonna get dicey. Got to get back up to racing speed. Oh, the Lamborghini being forced wide by Nemanja Roskovic. I wonder if that's gonna be a penalty or some kind of reprimand there. the Monza forced the Lamborghini of Michele Bonalumi right off the track. I think it was either Afonso, one of the two got pushed off track. And now we see a massive gaggle of cars here. And this is going to make things really, really spicy in the upcoming laps as these drivers kind of get settled in. I mean, we're going to see a few more of these cars probably pit. Actually, I think most cars have already done their pit stops here at this current time. So it'll be really, really, really interesting to see how many positions are being exchanged. Ooh, that Porsche is getting really, really close. Johnny Luna getting really close to Michele Bonalumi, who's currently in the last points paying position. And this is the last race, like we've said before, the last race that you can get points for being in P11. Because after this, points only go through the top 10 drivers. So that is definitely something worth noting. Points are only from the top 10 from Sebring onward. And also in Sebring, we're also going to have Philip back into the commentary box. We might have him for Fuji as well, but definitely for Sebring. And this fight has been pretty legendary so far, but now we're seeing all the front runners coming to the pits. Anyone fighting on track. Nathan is currently the lead driver on track. At least the driver currently in the first position that is not in the pits. And he's going to make a stop as well. So that would transfer the de facto lead to Nemanja, depending on when he actually gets out of the pit. Actually, no, that would go to Nielsen. But, yeah, I think a lot of these cars are going to be out of the pits by then, so. Oh, look how close these two cars are. Oh, the BMW's going to have to slow down a bit. And the Toyota, with the perfect pit timing, comes out ahead of Mikhail Prokop. Forcing Mikhail Prokop to kind of really inspect the back end of that safety car. But Prokop is going to try to send it around the outside. It's not going to happen here in the chicane. He's going to have to wait a bit for that move to happen. But both drivers are probably on fresh tires and they just topped off on fuel. So these two are going to give no quarter when it comes to fighting here. This is going to be a fight. This is going to be close. Going on board now with Mikhail. Trying to get the move done onto the Toyota up ahead. This is going to be a fight, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want to go anywhere. And we aren't going to go anywhere. We're going to stay on board now with this battle between Mikhail and Santos. So far, the lead hasn't really been able to be changed outside of the pit stop. So we'll see if Prokop does have the pace to get around this Toyota. It's going to be really, really tight, especially now that they're coming up to traffic. So maybe we could see Mikhail use the traffic to his advantage. And hopefully there's not any impeding, because that would be highly, highly unfortunate for the Toyota of Mark Santos. And also, I personally would like to see all these overtakes being done on track. You know, just based on raw pace alone, as opposed to just safety car or just traffic shenanigans. These drivers are extremely talented and extremely rapid. So definitely gonna see some spicy battles here for the remainder of this race. And I think almost so we've seen a few cars lapped. I'll do a DNF check real quick. So far, no DNFs. That is very good to see. I am glad to see that we have no DNFs here on track at the moment. Some cars have been lapped, but they're still going for it. And even if you are lapped, as long as you finish in that top 11 and you actually finish the race, then you are going to get yourself some points. And right now, Christian Tenerelio is the last driver in a points-paying position, currently sitting in P11 in the Proton Porsche. There's traffic there. Bigger traffic might play a part as the looking out of Nico Perez moves to the side to go ahead and give way to the other two cars. Maybe trying to get a little bit of a toe to kind of continue to pull away from Andre Ferreira. Although under no real pressure. But actually, we're seeing a good battle here between Byron Thompson and Nico Perez. At least we were seeing a little bit of a battle there. To slow down due to getting blue flags and faster cars passing through. But that is another position gain for Nico Perez. And the battle continues up at the front. We'll kind of take a look at Nemanja here. Nemanja is fending off, or sorry, not fending off, just getting past a lapped Ferrari as he chases down Alex Alfonso for P8. It'll be P8 on track, and actually there's a Lamborghini in P6 and a Glickenhaus in P5. We know Lucas Nielsen has had some really strong performances at tracks where the Glickenhaus just isn't that strong. I mean, we saw it in Spa. He got P7 at Spa. And then now looking like a potential top 5 finish for Glickenhaus. We know right now that Glickenhaus has been the most successful out of the boutique manufacturers. And unfortunately, the only remaining boutique manufacturer, as the other drivers from the other squads have either stepped away, at least for this race, or have switched cars entirely. Like we've seen with Christian Tenerelio moving from Vanwall to Porsche. And then we've seen Brandon Nils move away from Isolta Fraschini to Ferrari. From one Italian brand to the other. And speaking of Italian cars, looks like Alex Alfonso did get a little bit onto the gravel there. As he tries to extend that gap to Nemanja in the back. So far, this is the closest battle we have on track, and it's going to be a good one. We've seen that the Lamborghinis have been really, really strong here. Oh, he's going to try to make a bid for freedom around the outside of Parabolica. And actually, that might have been a lapped. Was that a lapped Porsche? Oh, there's a Porsche spinning off in the backfield. I wonder who that was. I'm not sure who that was. Oh, that was Formula Jonah. Formula Jonah had a spin there. It was a lapped Porsche. And now Formula Jonah is going to go ahead and make his way into the pits. And number 6 Porsche Penske machine. Unfortunate there for the Penske driver. As he makes his way into the pits. Got a little bit of damage there. Oh, and that's a retirement. That is our first retirement of the race here at Monza. Formula Jonah is out of this race. And we are down to 19 drivers remaining. Unfortunate there for Formula Jonah. I think that spin might have just been all she wrote. Maybe some more terminal damage that would have ultimately just gotten worse as the race goes on. But we have our first retirement of the race as we get ever closer to the final 30 minutes of the race. We'll switch to a battle between Johnny Luna and Michelle Bonalumi. There we go. As we'll take a look from the rear wing of this Lamborghini SC63. Still got Johnny Luna behind, but Johnny Luna is going to go ahead and just have that raw pace from the slipstream. But I think that the Lamborghini is just going to hold it coming into turn number 1. The Porsche will get closer, but definitely not really close enough to make a move. Definitely not enough real estate for that one. I'm glad he didn't try to force a move that wasn't there, because there was definitely not a move there. But if Michelle can actually back up that Hertz showed a Porsche a little bit, then we could possibly see Alex Afonso come into the mix. Currently 3.5 seconds behind Johnny Luna. And maybe these two Lamborghinis can be one right after the other here again. We'll stay on board with this. Oh, it's really close for the Porsche. The Porsche is getting super, super close to that Lamborghini. We'll see if there's going to be a move made into Ascari. It's going to be a dicey, dicey move if this move is made. He's going to try to send it up the inside. Johnny Luna's got the inside. Pushing Luna a bit wide. Oh, a little bit of a spin there. A little bit of contact there between Johnny Luna and Michelle Bonalumi. Causing a little bit of an unsettlement for the Porsche. And actually that puts Alex Afonso in a really good spot. Alex Afonso, who was only about 2 seconds behind, is now up to about less than a second behind. And that actually is going to put a little bit of extra wear onto the tires of that Hertz Toyota Porsche. So that is extraordinary. And that could be consequential for P7 in this race. Some really solid points coming Lamborghini's way at the end of this. Well, this could really hurt Johnny Luna in his championship bid. Johnny Luna, at the moment, currently sitting, he's not in the highest spot in the championship. He would have been a bit higher. He's actually only had one points finish, which was in spot, and that was actually after the penalty of having that was after the penalty of the fuel. But yeah, now these Lamborghinis have put Johnny Luna into a sandwich. Probably should make it a pasta sandwich, or else the Tifosi will get pretty upset. But instead of a pasta sandwich, we have a Lamborghini sandwich with Porsche in the middle. And we'll see what that brings. These two Lamborghinis have a really good shot at working together to go ahead and try to make up the most amount of ground humanly possible. As we go on board now with Alex Afonso in the Lamborghini. We'll stay on board with the Lamborghini for a while. As he goes ahead and tries to make the move. Oh, but his teammate is under a bit of pressure now. As the Hertz Team Toyota Porsche does get a little bit closer to that car up ahead. Trying to chase down the other Lamborghini while pulling away from one Lamborghini and trying to chase down the other. Not going to be a move made into the chicane. I mean, most times when you try to make a move into this turn 1 chicane, it usually ends in a little bit of contact. Hopefully it doesn't for any of these drivers going forward. But really excellent stuff here for a lot of these drivers. Oh, it's looking very, very close now. Very close between the Lamborghinis and the Toyota Porsche. And if they fight too much, or if there's an accident, then Nathan Perron is going to go ahead and try to fancy himself upgraded position. The pole sitter having a not super great race. Got caught up in some of the turn 1 issues, and then just fell down the order ever since. But we'll go ahead and just keep an eye out and see if there's. We'll stay on board for this battle for quite a bit. Unless there is a request in chat to kind of run with a different machine. And then that is definitely on the table. If you guys have a vehicle in mind you want to go on board with, let us know in chat. And we will go ahead and switch to the car for an onboard lap. So Miguel Frolkov has been right there with Santos, but the thing I've been noticing with this race is that, you know, the battle for the lead has just hasn't really been much of a battle. It's just been defense. It's just a constant defensive battle as we see Johnny Luna get the move made, and that's a spin. And more contact between Porsche and Lamborghini. Both the Lamborghinis are going to go ahead and get through. Plus they got a little too much on the curb there for Johnny Luna. There's probably some damage on that Lamborghini. We'll go ahead and see. From any of these views, I'm not seeing any kind of damage. But Alfonso is going to go ahead and make the move. All these two teammates are going side by side. That's risky business there. Going side by side through that corner with anybody is risky, let alone somebody in the same car as you. Your de facto teammate. And now Nathan Perron is right up in this gaggle of cars. So we'll definitely have to see how this battle goes. As you can hear the engines roaring of these cars. Johnny Luna was thinking about a move into the Ascari chicane, decides that there's very likely a better overtaking opportunity here versus what was presented. And in about a few seconds' time, we are actually down to the final 30 minutes of the race. 30 minutes remaining. We are 2/3 of the way done with this race. So far, it's been an excellent race for all involved. Or extra driving done by everybody involved, I should say. I know there's been some unfortunate incidents happening where drivers have fell down the order, like the driver you're currently on board with, Nathan Perron. He's going to continue trying to chase down that Porsche and also these other two cars, trying to make up as many points as humanly possible. Because, I mean, starting from pole position, you want to get your get back, as the kids nowadays say it. You really want to just fight for everything possible. But now we actually have a battle. Nico Perez might accidentally hold up his teammate. A battle here for P4. That doesn't look like it's going to be the case. The laps clicking out gets out of the way for both his teammate and also the Toyota of Antoine Poncet. This is looking likely to be an overtake here. The flashing lights there from the other Glickenhaus. The 708 Glickenhaus behind. We're going to go on board now with the Toyota. We'll see if a move is going to be made. We'll see if this is actually a fight for P4, which would be an astounding points result. We're going to see if the move is made. Not quite enough real estate. I think if he would have done a dive bomb there, it would have taken both cars out of contention, and then it would have left the door wide open for some of these other cars to try to catch up a bit. And I mean, Lucas Nielsen has had some really strong defensive driving, as we have seen. Unfortunately, we didn't have him for Le Mans, but we did have him for Spa. Spa was definitely his best drive yet, although this one is definitely going to top it if he can finish here in P4. Extra stuff here from the Glickenhaus. I mean, that Glickenhaus, I mean, it does have some disadvantages compared to some of the cars it's running against. No hybrid system, so that instant torque isn't there. Also rear-wheel drive, so it doesn't have the same amount of grip as some of these other cars have. And it doesn't have the same kind of top speed that these other cars have. We're gonna stick on board with Antoine Poncet. We're gonna do an on board with him. Once again, we will be back. So Lucas Nielsen has been able to kind of pull away from this Toyota here, which, I mean, that is a testament to just the skill that these boutique manufacturer drivers have. Keeping behind a rapid Toyota that dominated in 2023, winning every race but Le Mans. versus a car that didn't. I don't think even. I think I got a podium in 2021 just due to the fact there was literally only these two cars right here. The Glickenhaus and the Toyota were the only vehicles in the hypercar category in its first year, starting in 2021. So it'll be pretty. I mean, it's really awesome seeing that despite the fact that it's pretty much a common belief that the Glickenhaus isn't the strongest car on the grid, it is still able to put up some really strong results here. We're gonna we'll take a look at this potential fight for the lead as Mikhail Frokov. There is a lap car ahead. It's the number 93 Peugeot. This is the one of Antonio Mendoza. Looks like a little bit of gravel for Mikhail in the BMW, which is a bit unfortunate for his racecraft, but yeah, so far it's been pretty solid for these drivers. Mikhail Frokov started in P6 and heavily benefited from the turn one shenanigans and managed to get into P1 for a bit. And then Santos overtook in the pits. And then ever since then, it's just been kind of a management battle between these cars. Speaking of management, let's go and take a look at how much energy is remaining for these cars. So pretty even. Santos does have a bit more energy compared to Frokov. The Toyota is quite the efficient vehicle. We'll see if that plays a factor if these drivers have to make another pit stop. Possibly. So I'm just gonna run some quick math here because it takes about 3 seconds. Oh, that might be a move for the lead. Oh, they go side by side through the chicanes. Oh, just Mark Santos just holds on to the lead. There's a lapped Porsche that's also side by side. It's the Porsche Penske of the Monza Roskovich. He's gonna go ahead and oh, is he trying to pick up for a move against the BMW? That's unwise. Oh, he is. He's gonna try to go for a move, and there's a bit of contact there between the BMW and the Porsche of the Monza Roskovich. That is very unfortunate there between Frokov and Roskovich, I believe that was, and that Penske. Santos flashing his lights to kind of signify to that Ferrari, like, hey, there's faster cars coming behind you, so you'll have to let us through. It'll probably happen on the Parabolica straight. That's where I would imagine this would happen. So, speaking specifically for Santos, he's got about 16 laps left. So he will probably have to make another pit stop at the moment if he goes at about 3% per lap. Got about over 16 laps fuel remaining. Just doing some quick math. So we might see these cars pit in again. Frokov might have to pit in a lap earlier. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on this battle because, I mean, this could really come down to pit stops here. We're going to go on track. A battle between Nathan Perron and Michel Bonalumi. This is going to be a fight for turn. The cars are so close. He's going to try to make a send. He's got the speed. He's got the slipstream. He's got the inside. Does he got the move? Yes, he does. Nathan Perron gets the move done. He's up at the P7. And now he's got to go try to chase down the other Lamborghini. Although the other Lamborghini is about 5 seconds ahead. Still going to be the best result for the Lamborghinis here. A P6 finish for Alex Alfonso, and then the P8 finish for Michel Bonalumi. Going to bring some very solid points. So, let's see. Let me see here. Currently sitting in P6 and P8. That would net them about 18 points for a Lamborghini as a whole. So that is very good stuff here from the Lamborghinis. It has definitely been their day today. They've definitely shown their dominance amongst the Italians. As the two Ferraris just have not had the greatest of times here. Brandon Dills is retired. So we have two retirements here. Brandon Dills retiring on home soil. Unfortunate there for one Ferrari. The last remaining Ferrari of Rainier Deza, sorry, mispronounced that. Currently sitting in P17, still a good 27 seconds ahead of Antonio Mendoza in the Peugeot. So it has not been the day for Ferrari, but it has been a good day for Lamborghini. And it's also been a really good day for Lucas Nielsen here. Still fending off that Toyota of Antoine Ponset. Ponset is definitely itching to get this move done. Then he wants to try to chase out to Daniel Krebs to try to get a podium off of the Peugeot. Well, this would be the best points finish for Daniel Krebs. Daniel Krebs definitely getting retribution for that missed opportunity in Spa for a podium. Krebs right now is sitting pretty far down the standings. Only 2 points to his name. He got those points from Bahrain. DNF'd in both Spa and Le Mans. So this is a good shot for the Peugeot to go ahead and get some very solid points here. Very good points. I would actually jump him quite a bit with the 23-point bonus to him. That's 11 times the amount of points plus 1. So it'd be a very good result. We know Krebs has had pace. He's just had some unfortunate incidents that have befallen him and forced him to have some retirements early on in the season. Oh, that's the other Peugeot. That's not Daniel Krebs. That is the other Peugeot plowing into the wall. Antonio Mendoza into the wall. I wonder if that's going to be retirement there. Not quite. Not a retirement yet for the other Peugeot, but the other Peugeot is definitely hurting. Looking about to get louped by, I believe that's going to be P4 and P5. Lucas Nielsen and Antoine Ponset. As we go on board with Mikhail Frokov here, currently sitting at P2. We are down to less than about 18 minutes left of this race. 18 minutes left on the race, and if this continues, then we might see a new winner and a new winner in both the drivers and the manufacturers. So this could be extraordinary stuff here for Toyota. Toyota's had such an up and down season as it sits. Santos actually had a chance of winning in the prologue, which granted the prologue doesn't offer any points, but even still a chance for a win. Spun out, unfortunately, which led to Mikhail Frokov getting a win. And just hasn't had the chance to get a win since. Just has not had the pace, the luck, or just things have just not went the way that Santos would have wanted. But in this race here in Monza, that might be different. The curse might be broken for the Toyotas. And watch that be the phrase that jinxed Toyota. Oh, but it looks like the BMW of Mikhail Frokov actually ate a little bit of curb there for a bit. And now he's losing time to Santos. A little bit of time, but still keeping it close. But yeah, now he's outside of a second of Mark Santos. Now coming up to battles here. Antoine Ponset still chasing down Lucas Nielsen for P4. This would be a really strong result for Glickenhaus if it were to stick. We're actually going to take a look at this battle here a bit further down the grid, but this is for T14 Alpine versus Glickenhaus. We'll go on board with the number 36 Alpine. as you hear the roar of that Mechachrome V6. The same engine that they use in Formula 2. An engine that's kind of known for reliability issues, but so far haven't had to deal with that, but a few grip problems have had to be dealt with here. For Andre Ferreira, he locks up going into Ascari, and that's that battle over. And now we go back on board with Antoine Poncet as he continues to chase this Glickenhaus. Chasing this Glickenhaus down a bit later on the brakes. Thinking about a move, but not quite. A move has not been made, and not being made yet. He's just going to have to work that little bit harder to go ahead and get that position off of Lucas Nielsen. See, this is the closest fight so far. And, I mean, Nielsen, kudos to Nielsen. He's had a very solid drive here. I mean, it's a lot of work keeping that Toyota behind. We know that Toyota can be rapid, and Antoine Poncet, we know he can be a rapid driver. We saw his pace in France, where we went to Le Mans. And maybe is the overtake finally happening? He's got the move. He's got the inside of the Ascari chicane. And after God knows how many laps, and within the last 15 minutes of the race, Antoine Poncet gets P4 off of the Glickenhaus. But Luca's going to have a response. He's going to try to hook it around the outside. He is! Lucas Nielsen trying to hook it around the outside. Trying to hook it around the outside. He maybe got it? Question mark? He's got it. He's got the move. Extraordinary. Lucas Nielsen lost the position for a short while, but it's going to be Antoine Poncet trying to send it to the inside. He's got the inside line of the chicane. Now he's going to retake that position as they're both coming up to what I believe is a lap Peugeot. I believe that's a Peugeot of Antonio. But, going around the outside again. Lucas Nielsen is not backing down. A little bit of contact here between the Toyota and the Glickenhaus. More contact, forcing both drivers to go wide. And the battle continues. Yep, Lucas is going to give that position back. He admits he was in the wrong there. He's going to give up that position to the Toyota. And that may be all she wrote. But never say never, because we've seen, even here, that we have seen some extraordinary battles come from these two right here. So I think this fight's going to go down to the last lap of this race. Going to send it up the inside. No contact this time through the Ascari chicane. Forcing Antoine a bit wide, but he gets through the Ascari chicane just fine. And now, Nielsen is back into fourth. What a drive from Nielsen. And if he could drive this good in a Glickenhaus, I'd be very curious to see what he could do in a front-running car like the Toyota or the BMW. Or the Peugeot even, because I think he could do some magic in those cars. We're going to go ahead and switch back to the battle between Mikel and Santos. Very strong battle so far between these two. But so far it is, I mean, we've seen overtakes happen on this track. I mean, we saw earlier with Antoine Poncet and Lucas Nielsen. But this pass for the lead has just been nigh impossible for these drivers. I mean, the first half of this race, Prokop kept Santos behind him, and Santos couldn't get through. And now it's an Uno reverse. So now where Prokop can't get past Santos. So very interesting here. I wonder why that is, because we know overtaking is very, very possible here on this track. We've seen it before. But maybe it's just, maybe it's management. speaking of management, we'll take a look at some tires real quick. See what tires these guys are on. And now Santos has opted, he might be on the same hard. He might be on the same hards he started with. Very possible because those hards didn't go quite the distance. Now we're going to take a look at how much energy is remaining. Santos is still ahead in that energy battle amongst these top contenders, but the Lamborghinis and also the Porsche of Johnny Luna are kind of in a bit of trouble. They're definitely going to have to make another pit stop. I think all these cars are going to have to make a last-second pit stop, potentially, unless they do some massive fuel saving here. Which, I mean, it's possible, but also we've seen penalties being applied to cars that have just ran out of fuel towards the end. I mean, Johnny Luna is a good example of that. Bonalumi is probably going to be the next driver to have to pit in. As actually, we'll go on board with that Lamborghini right now. A lot of these cars have just clean air right now, so I mean, it's really just clean air, and this fuel is definitely spread out a bit. The only cars within a second of each other is Antoine Poncet and Lucas Nielsen, and then Mikhail Frokov and Mark Santos. So actually, we'll return to the age-old saga of Poncet trying to get past Lucas and make it stick. I think there's a lap car ahead of them. There is the Peugeot of Antonio Mendoza. Currently 2 laps down at the moment. We're down to the last 10 minutes. The Peugeot slows way down, allowing this battle to continue. And we are continuing to see this fight between Poncet and Lucas. Very interesting stuff here. Very strong stuff here from a lot of these drivers. What's actually, let's see, who can we go on board with? We'll show some love to Italy. We'll go on board with one of the Lamborghinis. We'll do a on-board lap with one of the Lamborghinis. Let's go with the lead in Lamborghini right now, Alex Alfonso. We're going to do an on-board lap with him. And then once again, we will be right back. Very good lap there from Alex Alfonso, currently sitting in P6. We are down to the final 7 minutes of the race here. And, oh, yep, Mikhail Frokov actually went into the pit, so he's going to maybe try an undercut, possibly. Undercut is definitely possible here. We'll have to see how it goes. Santos does have a little bit of traffic ahead, so I think Santos might have to make a pit stop as well. The Toyota driver was on had a little bit more energy compared to Mikhail there, but unfortunately just had to, or just a bit more, but he might have to come into the pits a bit later. I don't think it's enough. He'll have one extra lap compared to the BMW, as we're slowly but surely approaching the final 5 minutes of the race. We are down to the final 6 minutes of the race here in Monza. And we'll see what we can go on board with. Let's see if there's any big battle is happening. Not at the moment. We'll show some more love to the Tifosi. We'll get the Ferrari of... Okay, sorry, that was kind of a bit of a spike on my end when it came to the POV. Don't know if it actually showed up on stream as well. It doesn't... Okay, it did look like it did, so it was just, let me show on my end. Oh, yep, there it is. I was watching it back on stream. Bit of an issue there. Do apologize for that. So now, so here's the thing, right? If these two other drivers, let's actually take a look at energy remaining. You know what? These drivers could make it. These drivers could make it. We could see a Glickenhaus on the podium. If these drivers just manage, they need to manage with their lives. These drivers, well, I mean, Afonso's got to make a pit stop, so he's going to probably drop down the order quite a bit. But it's very possible for these Glickenhauses to go ahead and finish out this race. Possibly. They have to do some serious fuel saving, though, so it is very likely that they'll have to make a pit stop at some point or another. I mean, Afonso definitely is. He's probably going to pit in this lap, just so he doesn't lose out to some of the other cars behind him. But I mean, it's about 3 laps or so remaining, 3 or 4 laps, give or take. And it's about 3% per lap, at least at full push. So possibly these drivers could finish out making a pit stop. And then it will be the only time Mikhail Frokov has not been on the podium. It would be the only time. Now we see Alex Afonso pit in. The Lamborghini driver going to go ahead and make his final pit stop of the race. He's going to drop at least 1 position. The Cadillac is going to get promoted, and yeah, he's going to move up a position. Alex Afonso is probably going to also drop behind Mikhail Frokov here. This is definitely going to be a management race. Nielsen might be able to do it. He might be able to grab a podium here in this race, and it would be absolutely astounding stuff here. And Daniel Krebs might get that podium he's been chasing for so long in that Peugeot. He could have had it in Spa, didn't quite get it, but he might get it now. We are down to 3 minutes remaining on this race, ladies and gentlemen. This is now a race of management. There's nobody really going to be fighting right now, just because now we're at that stage of the race where managing is going to be key. Every driver, if they want to get their position, they're going to have to manage their position very, very. They can't really push. They can't go 100% full pace. Realistically, they probably got to go about 75. 75% of the full pace is probably what's needed for these drivers to go ahead and finish this race out with the amount of energy they have remaining. Easier said than done, though, as Ponset does move up into the podium spots. I think Nielsen must have had an incident. That might have been, I think we did see a yellow flag earlier, so that might be where the yellow flag actually came from. Yeah, definitely where that yellow flag came from earlier. Down to the last minute and a half, so probably about another 2 laps for these drivers. And Toyota are looking in a very good position to get their first win here in Le Mans Ultimate at Lightning Speed Racing. It's going to be here in Monza where Toyota can very well secure their first victory. Daniel Krebs is 17 seconds behind, so it would take a pit stop. Go ahead and move Santos out of P1. Santos just has to manage, and he's got the gap to do so. Ponset is kind of closing in, but it's now just all about the management. The management is going to be what kind of just seals the deal for this race. Nathan Perron did have a pretty solid recovery drive. He's back up into P5. Quite a gap away from Lucas Nielsen, so I think he will remain in P5 as it sits. And yeah, down to the final 40 seconds of the race. Soon to be the final 30. And that car right there has come so close to wins. Tantalizingly close to race victory for the Toyota of Mark Santos. They have been so close, yet so far away. Now they are 15 seconds away from taking a race win here in Monza. It has been an excellent drive. Pretty much took the lead from the pit stop when he got ahead of Mikhail Frokov and showed him that safety car up close and personal. It allowed Mark Santos to kind of just cruise off. He didn't really cruise off per se, but he had to defend from Mikhail, but Mikhail just could not get the move done. He's coming around Parabolica now. It is the last corner. Mark Santos is a race winner for Toyota. He wins here in Monza. It is a race win for Mark Santos. And then Daniel Krebs, incident-free, coming down to the final lap. He is going to come across the line in P2. It's a podium for Peugeot and Toyota. Antoine Ponset, it's a double podium for Toyota. The 2023 Toyota rounding off our podium. And Lucas Nielsen going to come home and finish an excellent drive into P number 4. And that is the race done and dusted, my friends. That is the race done and dusted. Ladies and gentlemen, that is round number 4 done and dusted. And what a race. Unfortunately, we had 4 separate retirements in this race. We had Formula Jonah, Brandon Dills, Nemanja Rajkovic, and then the other Ferrari of Rainier Deza. 4 retirements of the race. And it was a very well done drive from these top drivers. But there might be, actually, some interesting concern here is I'm seeing red for both Nielsen and Bonalumi. They might have some pits. They might be out of fuel, so that might be maybe some fuel stuff. We saw that in Spa with Johnny Luna getting demoted a few spots. I wonder if that's going to happen to Nielsen and Bonalumi. Interesting stuff here, chat. So here are our standings here. We have Mark Santos, Daniel Krebs, Antoine Ponset, Lucas Nielsen, Nathan Perron, Mikhail Frokov, Alex Afonso, Michelle Bonalumi, Bradley Kennedy, Johnny Luna, Jerome Leninrad, Christian Tenerillo, Andre Ferreira, Nico Perez, Byron Thompson, Antonio Mendoza, Rainer Deza, Nemanja Rajkovic, Brendan Dills, and Formula Jonah are our final drivers. They're the last ones. They've all DNF'd. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for this race. Yeah, so, ladies and gentlemen, done and dusted here. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and switch over to our interview screen, which is the video thumbnail. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get our podium sitters into the commentary box. We're gonna go ahead and just wait and see if we can get some of these podium sitters. See if we can get some of these podium guys into chat for a quick little interview. We'll give it till about 2 o'clock. And then if we don't have anyone, we will unfortunately not have interviews, but possibly we'll go ahead and see. We'll see if we can get some interviews, but I'll just go ahead and give a quick little race summary from my end. That was a very interesting race. We saw some pretty spicy overtakes. The battle between Nielsen and Ponsat was really entertaining to watch. It was curious though of how the position for the lead would never change until like the pit stops and obviously turn 1. None of the other like overtakes from T1 were done on track, so interesting to see. Yeah, some very solid points now for a lot of these drivers. Scores will be calculated and then dished out by the end of today. So the drivers will have that at their disposal, and it might be posted on our social medias. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to go ahead and get any of our interviewees. So I think we are good to wrap it on up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. It was an excellent race here at Monza as always. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe for more racing action here. We have F1 Group 1 coming up here in a few minutes. I'm not sure who's commentating that race. Let me see. Actually, you know what? We'll try to get Lucas Nielsen. We'll see if we can get Lucas real quick. Yep, so we'll see. We might have Lucas Nielsen coming in for a potential chat for an interview, but be sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We have a race coming up here soon. And there is Lucas Nielsen. Man, hello. What an excellent race for you. Almost had that podium.
It was too close. Way too close.
You had some excellent on-track battles throughout the race. So kind of, were you expecting to keep up with the Toyota of Antoine? Or
not at all. I wasn't very confident going into the race, but I kind of had good pace, and it worked out. P4.
Excellent. Yeah, you had a very good race today. How are you feeling about Sebring next week? It's a 1-hour race. It'll be 2 1-hour races for the remainder of the season. So, how do you feel about the final 2 rounds of the season?
I don't know. I haven't really driven those tracks before, but it's going to be very interesting. I think very short in comparison to Monza and Spa, for example. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
Indeed, yeah.
Get the podium.
Well, I mean, hey, it's looking out as his home track, so I mean, no better place to do it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm so tired. Holy shit.
I bet, man. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on a P3 or a P4 near a podium, and hopefully, best of luck to you next time out in Sebring.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. We also have Mikkel Frokov here in the commentary box. So, Mikkel, how are you feeling after that race? Are you feeling better? Did you recover from fever or cold you had last time out?
Yeah, I recovered, like, basically. I'm still, like, coughing a bit and stuff, but mostly recovered. It, of course, affected a bit of practice as well, but, I mean, pace was good. Could have fought for the win, which I did until I got the drive-through. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the drive-through.
Went down from there. Yeah, you didn't notice on stream?
I thought you went to the pits. Unfortunately, sometimes Go ahead.
Yeah, I had plenty of fuel. I even had one fuel left to spare, so I could have pushed a lot with the fuel I had left. I could stop fuel saving because I did that basically the whole race. So fuel-wise, I could have easily made it.
Yeah, it showed me for Perez, but I must have missed it because unfortunately the penalty thing does get kind of overshadowed by the overlay sometimes. So maybe the overlay kind of covered that penalty. I wasn't aware of that, but that's really unfortunate. But those are decent points.
Yeah, good points against Machete, at least for the championship. But I mean, it was a safe, secure P2, which I lost. Especially, I got that drive-through. I mean, some of the penalties were bullshit in my opinion, but what is it? And then I accidentally, serving the drive-through, I accidentally turned off the pit limiter. So I got a 10-second stop and go for that too. So
yeah, that'll do it to you.
So I lost like a minute. Yeah.
So I'll ask you the same question I asked Lucas. How are you feeling about Sebring and Fuji?
Well, Fuji, I'm very confident. I like the track. I'm fast on it, so I've got confident that I can win that. Sebring, I don't have a lot of practice in hypercars. But yeah, it's very bumpy, so that's gonna be certainly a big factor. A lot of drivers are gonna be making mistakes because of the bumps. But hopefully I don't do it and win too. I'll get a good podium.
As a famous racing driver once said, to finish first you must finish. And not getting sent to the Shadow Realm on the concrete bumps of Sebring is definitely one of the requirements to actually finish that race. But well, unfortunate finish for you here today. But I believe you're still in the lead of the championship. Points are going to be calculated today.
I should.
So we'll let you know.
Lead, but
yeah. So best of luck to you coming up in Sebring, and thanks for jumping in.
Thank you.
All right, so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Rekus. I was your commentator here today, and we'll see you next week at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Sebring. Take care, everyone.